You know, based on what we're seeing in the passives for the new summonable characters, the NAPPA VEGETA and the Saibaman, we might be looking at some potential crazy additions to the free-to-play lineup for Saiyan Saga. We already have a pretty sizable representative for the free-to-play side on Saiyan Saga, and that is the version Z team, the LR version Z Goku, and the Z fighters. But what if they decided to go further and give us even more free-to-play, but more so on the extreme side? So let's go ahead and dive in and discuss what this could potentially mean for the Saiyan Saga category. But before we do any of that, I got to do something first. I got to get this off my chest.
Wake up! Aja waja 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 makeup. Aja waja fade waja. Aja waja fade waja. Aja waja 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 table.
What the hell are the lines? I heard this song when I was really young, and I never actually remembered the lines. I heard
wake up,
Aja waja 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 makeup. I never knew the full thing. I would just go Aja waja 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 in between.
Wake up. Grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars to fade away the shake up. Hide the scars to fade away the Aja waja 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 table.
I love it. I'm honestly so thrilled with this Dokkan Festival announcement because we are getting some much needed buffs to a category that is just in no man's land. We have nothing going for the Saiyan Saga. Granted, I did want Namek Saga to get the upgrade, but I'll take it because as somebody who wants underrepresented categories to get their moment, this is a great move moving forward for Saiyan Saga. Might not necessarily feel that way right now considering what we've got coming up. But like I said, I am excited and this is my opinion, so I am entitled to my opinion. Couple of things here to point out. So first of all, if you know, you know, Chop Suey, System of a Down. Funny enough, System of a Down, along with like a lot of other bands, I only learned because of Dragon Ball. I don't know what song it was. I think it might have been during History of Trunks. There was like some System of a Down AMV or something that like first exposed me to that band, which was cool. Anyway, yeah, Chop Suey, they straight up just ripped that song and they just put it into the active skill. Like that's what they did. It's the same beat. It's like the beats per minute. It all just feels exactly the same. It's the only thing you're missing is the lyrics. That's it. It's all in there. Like when the full song comes out, I'm gonna be spamming like all the OST videos. Anyway, a couple more things here. Big shout out to Geod Z, who points out like all the cool references in the animations. This is a shot referencing the manga, as you see right there, which is pretty cute. And then also there's apparently a Xenoverse reference. So I've never played Xenoverse. I had no idea, but the double Uzaru thing is a direct nod to Xenoverse, I guess, which is pretty cool. And then there was also sort of a visual cue, I suppose. This really didn't cross my mind, mainly because they're in reverse, but it still kind of works. Like when they're emerging from the debris, the dust, it's kind of like when the Saiyans are first coming, like when they talk about the, you know, the terror of the future Saiyans coming up in a few, what did they say, few months, few years? I don't know. I'm a fake fan, but that's also pretty cool. So that's pretty dope. Today's video is mainly going to be talking about what the future holds for the Saiyan Saga category based on what we're seeing here in the passives. Because when it comes to celebrations like this, celebrations that a lot of people will probably argue are not too hype, they don't care about, the category sucks, the unit sucks, blah, blah, blah. While that may be true to a small extent in terms of that immediate team that you can run, the future is bright. For example, the Android 16 release last year in October, November might have been in a vacuum a pretty dull celebration when you think about Androids as a whole, but the pieces that got some nice upgrades as a result of that bodes well for the future of Androids, because now when the next Android installment comes in, you are now picturing a team led by that new Android unit alongside the crazy defensive support that this guy can provide. You've got the scouting and the nuking that the other EZAs for the androids have also been given. Cell with his revive and his domain. So there's a lot of good things moving forward for the android category when we get a couple more installments. Likewise, this upcoming Snooze Fest celebration, while it is a Snooze Fest, is going to mean good things for Saiyan Saga moving forward. That being said, it looks like it is more so of an emphasis on the extreme side of the Saiyan Saga. Vegeta, though, does give support to both. Saiyan Saga Giant A Power, attack and defense 40%. Saiyan Saga attack and defense plus 20%. Also gives Saiyan Saga pseudo critical, which is awesome. And then when he switches to NAPPA, actually, we know his active gives more Saiyan Saga support, and then an extra boost for Extreme. Looking at the Saiyan Saga Extreme side, at the moment, it's kind of bleak, but that's before we see any EZAs or even get to use the unit in action. Raditz and NAPPA. These two units released in 2021? I don't know, man. Whenever the hell it came out. These two units are likely going to receive EZAs. At least one. I think Giga Rad is definitely going to get his EZA. And that will be a historic one. But these two are potentially on the rise. This guy's already a known quantity. He was one of the best slot 1 units in history when he first came out. He was very good. He's obviously aged, but I think he will get a bit of a resurgence. If you summoned on that manga banner, then you might have this guy. He's not like game changing, but he's another piece to include. This guy, not so much. Depending on what their EZAs are like, these two will be transcendent. And then the other one that I am blanking on here, where are they? This guy, I think, is going to be a huge beneficiary of the new leader skill, because this guy, 30% damage reduction, slot 3 guard. So this will help kind of clear the rear guard on your rotations. You don't have to worry about the slot 1 or the slot 2. This guy is purely meant to just hang out in the slot 3 to provide some extra defense. And all you need is a terrifying Conqueror ally attacking in the same turn, or pure Saiyans. I wonder who that could be. So there's a small little bite-size, set of extreme Saiyan Saga units. We'll start there. Then we build on top of that with the Saibaman, and maybe potentially more Saibaman. Because, like I said, we've got some support with Vegeta. We've got some cool support with NAPPA, the more hits he receives. A little bit more of an emphasis on the extreme side on his skill set here. Attack plus 10%, additional attack plus 10% for extreme. So that's cool. But then Saibaman is what really makes people think. Because if you look at Saibaman's passive, you see here, per ally whose name includes Saibaman attacking in the same turn, you get all of this. Now, the way that I first saw this, I really didn't see this as anything more than just, okay, if you're going to take the chance of bringing those bum, like, free-to-play, what is it, N unit Saibaman, this is what you get for it. This unit will get key plus 3, attack plus 181 times however many, not excluding himself. So that, like, let's say you have a full rotation of Saibaman, you're not getting any links. You are getting key plus 9, attack plus 541, 543, critical plus 30%. Launch an additional, oh my god, wait, what? You'd launch 3 additional supers, and then you would launch 3 additional attacks on top of that, with a medium chance of each of those becoming a super on top of this. Oh my god, that's like 8 attacks, which is, that's pretty broken when you think about it. But you don't have any links, you don't have really much in terms of def. Well, you have a little bit, but that's sort of the trade-off. So you sacrifice potentially your entire run in service of this Saibaman unit just popping off. But the other theory was, what if this was a setup for a Saibaman team to emerge? Now, what we've seen so far, based on the content that was announced to be coming up, it doesn't look very promising, considering we only got All Out Seriously Serious and Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash. But don't forget, this is an April Fool's celebration. And Rick points out the fact that during the April Fool's celebrations, there's typically 2 separate data downloads that happen to account for the April Fool's content. Meaning what we've been seeing so far might just be the front end of what we're going to be getting on this first week, but it might not be all of it. There could be some more stuff coming up. And maybe on that second data download, we don't necessarily see it in some sort of like a scheduled post, but perhaps we will see in the data, like the data mine stuff. Maybe there's an EZA coming up. Maybe there's a couple new characters coming up. I mean, we just got a surprising amount of characters with Dokkan Frontier. So maybe this is going to be another move that they make to prepare players for the next chapter of Dokkan Frontier. And that's another reason why I think that this is actually a pretty reasonable guess. The fact that Dokkan Frontier created a high demand for niche characters, very low-end characters, because you kind of need those to get through some of the tougher challenges in Dokkan Frontier. Namek Saga has now become a very controversial category because of that fact. A lot of people don't have some of the older units. Even though they're not good objectively speaking, for Dokkan Frontier, they're very useful. This free-to-play unit has become very useful. Wait, what? Where are the other guys? Where's the Dende? Where's the Krillin? Shouldn't they be here? Whatever. Like, those guys are there, right? Those guys are useful. The old Ginyu Force, like, duo characters, they're useful. So what if, by doing this Saiyan Saga celebration, they start loading up on more free-to-plays, more extra characters that you can use to provide further depth on your teams, but more importantly, to get you ready for the next phase of Dokkan Frontier. Maybe instead of us fighting the fight in Namek Saga after Nail versus Frieza, we just jump all over the place and we move back to Raditz versus Goku and Piccolo. If that's the case, all of a sudden your version Z fighters, like the LR version Z Goku, all these guys, Yamcha, Krillin, Tien, Chaozu, Gohan, Piccolo, they're all useful. But now all of a sudden you got a new wave of extreme free-to-play Saibaman units. How are they going to label these Saibaman characters? Are they going to be like the Metal Cooler clones? Are they going to be done with like a different type? Like if we go here, we got to go Wicked Bloodline, Artificial Life Forms, right? Like what if we just do this? They're not identified as anything different in the movie, but here they are. AGL Metal Cooler, Tech Metal Cooler, Int Metal Cooler, right? Goku Black Rose clones, they did the same thing. Even in Legends, they had differently named Saibaman characters. Not that this is necessarily like a top tier squad. I think these are like Legends what ifs. There's Saibaman, and then you've got like Hyakon Man. Oh, Copy. Yeah, this guy's Copy Man. Like, what's his deal? He's a game original. Yeah. But like, what if they sort of bring this element over into Dokkan? I think that'd be pretty cool. But then again, that requires more effort, so maybe that might not be something they want to do. But it can happen. They could easily do this for the Saibaman units. And by simply doing that, however many Saibaman units you bring, just like that, Extreme Saiyan Saga just got a whole lot deeper. You've got more units that you can swap in or out, potentially more functionality in terms of these links. You're never going to see these. That's the one thing that I'm kind of nervous about when it comes to the Saibamen. Are they trying to treat these Saibamen units like just very, you know, very much disposable, not useless, but, you know, just like henchmen, just straight up disposable little henchmen? If they're disposable little henchmen, then they sort of lift right out of the rotation in terms of synergy. They're not meant to provide synergy. They're just meant to exist as little minions, right? So maybe you have all Saibamen on a Saibamen team have 0 actual links that connect. Maybe these only connect to Nappa. Instead, by the mere presence of these units being on the rotation, you get extra abilities through the passive. It could actually be a cool way to sort of reinvent what a unit can bring to the table in terms of synergy. Kind of like what the Rose clones do, but instead of focusing on the links, you focus more so on the passive, right? The clones do a bit of both. They give you great links, and they also give you the passives. Here, let's forego the links altogether and the categories, clearly, and we just focus on some busted, broken passives that can make these characters so good to the point where if you're running a team with all Saibamen and like Nappa, you've got a competitive team that can handle maybe 80-90% of the Dokkan events out there. It'd be pretty cool. So I think that with this celebration being in such an inconvenient spot in the grand scheme of things for players, I think this would be a great opportunity for them to sort of, I don't know, repair some of the damage that has happened recently by bringing in some nice free-to-play characters, front loading on the Saiyan Saga for the inevitable Dokkan Frontier release. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below, in the comments your thoughts on the potential that this Saiyan Saga celebration is going to be looking at in terms of new units or the category overall. And what are your thoughts on these characters? Do you think that we are going to be getting a full Saibamen team? Do you think that if that happens, Saiyan Saga will become top tier? Do you think that there's a potential for Saiyan Saga to already be top tier with the alternate leader skills that you can be running, or the alternate units that you can be running? Because don't forget, Accelerated Battle, Final Trump Card, Accelerated Battle, Giant 8 Power, that brings in a lot of like 11th anniversary, GDC, 10th anniversary units. You've got some nice like LR superclass units. Maybe just throw this unit into slot 3 entirely, forget about Saiyan Saga, and you just have another category to run your best and brightest units. So what are your thoughts on the character? What are your thoughts on the leader skill potential, the team building potential, and all that stuff? Feel free to share in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future, and click the notification bell so that you'll let YouTube know you're going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.